continuing to read the second paragraph, the book of Joshua divides into two halves. The first 14 chapters describe the conquest of Canaan. About 1406, do you remember? We know when this happened, because we know when Solomon's temple was, the cornerstone was laid and they built the temple. In fact, this is the 3,000th anniversary of David becoming the king of Israel. That's what they're celebrating over there in 1996. And so if you go back from the temple, we know that the Exodus was 1446. They wandered 40 years till 1406. Joshua started conquering the land in 1406 BC, and it took him 7 years till about 1399, 1400 to conquer the land. Whereas, continuing to read, chapters 15 to 24 relate the division of the land among the tribes. Contrary to Numbers, that's God chastening his disobedient people, which precedes this book, Joshua, and Judges, that's the next book, which is God judging his wayward people. Right in the middle stands this beautiful book. The book of Joshua is paralleled very closely in the New Testament to the book of Ephesians. What's Ephesians about? Especially the last chapter. Take to you the sword of the Spirit and be a conqueror and overcome all the fiery darts of the evil one with the shield of faith. The book of Joshua is all about conquering. And we're going to see in a minute. It's very, very specific. Which follows it, Joshua emphasizes God, and the word for God in the Old Testament is YAHWEH, blessing his people when they obey him. God fulfills his promises by bringing his people to the land. Remember, the first 5 books are filled with promises. God said to Abraham, I'm picking you, I'm giving you a seed, I'm giving you a land, I'm going to give you as many descendants as the sand of the sea, they can't be numbered. So promises in Genesis. The promises reiterated in Exodus. The people go into bondage, and then they're taken out of bondage, and then the people are given how to approach God in Leviticus. Do you remember going through that? Then in Numbers, how to follow his will, and they don't do it. Deuteronomy, God starts over again with their children. Isn't it? He's the God of the second chance. I like that. It's one of his names. The God of the second chance. And now in Joshua, he's taken that new generation and he's going to bring them into his promises. God fulfills his promises by bringing his people to the land. They are to conquer and settle this land. They weren't just supposed to come on vacation. They're supposed to conquer it and settle it. Now, what do we mean by conquer? Well, the Hebrew word is the word harem. Not harem like a bunch of concubines, but harem with a nasal little emphasis on there is the word for utterly destroy. Now, it's said in the book of Genesis, when God was talking to Abraham, Abraham was kind of questioning him, like, when is this going to happen, God? God says, no, it's not now. He said, the iniquity of the Amorites is not yet full. Now, you know, that doesn't sound very nice to us, does it? God says they're not as bad as they're going to get yet. And when they're up to here, he says, I'm going to utterly destroy them. From our standpoint, we'd go, that's not very merciful. That's not very gracious, right? But remember, God is not selfish. God is perfect in our terms of selfish. He is jealous and he does everything for himself, but he's perfect. He's holy. So everything God does is right. And so God told Abraham, nope, it's going to be 480 years in the future. They're going to all be destroyed. That's what he asks these people to do. He says, conquer the land and don't leave one person alive breathing. Don't leave one person in the land. Kill men, women, children, all of them. Do you know why there are liberals in this world? They don't like that. They say, that's not nice. Well, let me ask you this. What do all of us deserve? The wages of sin is what? Palm Springs. Yeah. Bermuda. Go to the Bahamas. No. The wages of sin is death. So what do we all deserve? Death. So anybody that lives at all, it's God's grace. And these people, God says, your time is up. The clock has run out for you. Okay. As long as they obey, that's the nation of Israel, he will fight for them. Now, did you know the only casualties in 7 years of battle, and I'm not talking about smart laser-guided bombs where you're at 48,000 feet and you're looking at a screen and you let a bomb loose and it goes down for 9 miles and destroys something. I'm talking about with a sword and with people shooting arrows in every direction and slinging slingshots. And it says that the left-handed guys with slingshots, it said could hit someone within a hair's breadth. I don't have any hair to demonstrate with, but any of you that have one, go up and feel one. They could hit within a hair's breadth. I mean, if they could see you, they could kill you. That's how good they were. How many casualties were in entire 7-year time? 36. 36 people got killed. And that's when they went out and fought without God at Ai. Nobody else ever got killed. How would you like to be in that army? I mean, the arrows were going punk, punk, punk all around you, and you go up, you got yours. You know, he goes slash, 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 you got yours. Nobody, I mean, God fought for them. It was miraculous. And the only casualties they had were because of disobedience. Guess what? The Christian life that you and I live right now, God wants to fight for us. And the only time there's casualties is when we're fighting for ourselves. God doesn't ever lose. We do. Now, have you lost lately? You've been fighting for yourself. I've been fighting for myself. You know, people don't lose their temper. They find it. You know, that's just how it is. We have to learn that when God fights for us, He wins. And so, as long as they obey, He will fight for them. We get to chapter 10, and you know what happens? Joshua's saying, man, we're killing them as fast as we can kill them. He says, well, I don't have enough time. Stop the sun. It was the longest day on record. Did you know every major civilization in the 15th century BC all have a record of an extraordinary day where it seems like it never ended? Did you know the Chinese civilization has that? The Indian civilization has that. The pre-Columbian civilizations they all have a record of this extraordinary long day. Guess what? It's in the Bible. God did something. I'm not sure what He did. Whether He diffused the light. I mean, He could have stopped the earth. I'm not sure how it happened, but it was an extraordinary, prolonged period of light. And Joshua saw the sun stand still. Okay, so now God could do that. That would be amazing, because theoretically in physics, if the earth stopped rotating, the oceans would wash over. Kind of like when you stop too fast, like whatever, with your child's aquarium in the back seat, all the water comes out of it. You know what I mean? That would happen to the earth. But God fought for them, and on that day, they couldn't sword fight fast enough, so it says God sent hailstones and squashed everybody. The bad guys. I mean, do you see? He was fighting for them. I don't want to make you squeamish, but God wanted them to win. God wants you and me to win. You get in our spiritual lives today. Continue to read. If they disobey, though, they must serve the nations around them. See, he said, either you utterly destroy all of them, but if you leave any of the Canaanites in the land, any of the Perizzites, any of the Hittites, any of the Amorites, any of the Jebusites, you leave any of them and they will someday be your masters. You know what God says? If you do not mortify the lusts, if we do not mortify the lusts of our flesh, we will serve our lusts someday. Do you see that? Do you see why Joshua is so important? It's just anything that we struggle with, it's because we have not, by the blood of Christ, by walking by faith, claimed His power to mortify that area in our life. Now, we'll never be perfect, because see, every time you get one area of your life under control, here's another one. But you should see a decreasing frequency of sin and increasing frequency of righteousness. That's what God wants in our life.